Hi loves, how are you? I hope that you are doing so well today. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Nina or Sinfulpluto, and if you're returning, welcome back. Thanks for joining us again today. So today we're going to be going over what is in store for us this upcoming week. I'm very excited to see what's in store for us. I'm going to be basing this off of the elements like I did last week, so you can base this on the element that is your sun, moon, rising, and Venus. I'm going to be leaving timestamps down below so that you can just skip to all of that if you don't want to watch the entire video, which I completely understand. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and get started. Hey fire signs, let's just get right into your reading and see what is in store for you. If you're interested, I'm using the Modern Witch Tarot. It'll be linked down below if you're interested in adding it to your collection. So let's get right into it. So what is in store for fire signs between the 11th through the 17th of November? What is in store for fire signs between November 11th through the 17th? There's a card that fell over. Oh, we got the Four of Swords reversed. Okay. That's what fell out. That's right here. And then we have the Ten of Cups, the Knight of Cups, and the Two of Cups reversed. This is a lot of emotions. Didn't I pull these cards last week? I feel like I pulled these cards last week. Did I not? Bottom of the deck is the Six of Pentacles reversed. I feel like I pulled these cards last week. I literally pulled these cards for some element last week. I don't know, I don't remember who, but this sounds very familiar. Anyways, let's just get right into it. So this week, fire signs, I see a little bit of restlessness. I think that you are being encouraged to take the time to rest, to cut yourself some slack, to really disconnect from the world, because it seems that there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of emotions that are really piling up for you. So there's a lot going on here, okay? There's a lot going on. Whether it's because you're socializing with people all of the time or because you have a big workload, whatever it is, I feel like you definitely need some time to disconnect. I feel like maybe you're using the company of other people to kind of avoid any sort of introspection or reflection. Maybe some of you are kind of avoiding hermit mode for whatever reason that might be. Maybe you're scared to see what's going on the inside. Maybe you're kind of scared to go through that reflection sort of stage or allowing yourself to be vulnerable, which I understand. I also would say, because in the Four of Swords, she's like holding onto her stomach, right? Like you can kind of see how she's like holding onto her stomach like that. I feel like for some of you, there might be some issues with like digestion or like feeling nauseous or even having problems with like headaches or migraines. So I feel like taking the time to disconnect and to rest and to literally just like sleep it out and to take a nap whenever you need to would be very, very necessary for you and very required of you, because I feel like you're not getting enough of that. And then we have the Ten of Cups, which usually talks about like fulfillment, happy home, happy family, happy life, right? Happy wife, happy life sort of thing. And so having the Ten of Cups tells me that your internal life, or should I say, I guess your environment, your overall family home environment seems good, it seems fine, or that maybe this is something that you are trying to attain, especially with this Knight of Cups. Maybe this is something that you're trying to attain. Maybe this is like an offer that you want, like you want to offer this to yourself, you want to offer this life to yourself, or to even to someone else in your life. Maybe you're trying to make the promise that you can be the person who can provide the Ten of Cups for someone else, but it feels like with this Four of Swords, you're in not really any sort of condition to be offering anyone anything other than offering yourself nourishment and taking care of yourself and making sure that you're okay and nurturing yourself, because it doesn't seem like you're doing all that well. You need to give your mind a break. You seem very overstimulated. So if you're trying to offer this to someone else, or if you're trying to overwork yourself to gain this Ten of Cups, I would definitely encourage you to slow down a little bit, because it seems like you are definitely pushing yourself way past your limit and past your boundary. And I think it's important for you to respect yourself and to respect your boundaries and take care of yourself and nurture yourself, like I keep on repeating, because I feel like if you don't, then you inevitably kind of just ruin it all for yourself, so to speak. It's like I don't want to say like it's a sabotaging sort of thing, but you miss out on this opportunity by not listening to your own body. So I really do encourage you to listen to your own body if you're not doing well. However that might be, whether it's through nausea, maybe like having a flu or a cold or a stomach virus or just having digestion problems, whatever it is, take care of that. Like, put that first, okay? We also have the Two of Cups reversed, which to me would normally signify like a breakup or a disharmonious relationship, you not seeing eye to eye with someone. So I really feel that, because like in the long run, let's think about this in the long run, even though you might be trying to make this offer for someone, even though you're trying to offer this life of emotional fulfillment and stability and a happy family and all of this stuff, there's only so much that you can provide when you're not taking care of yourself. And I feel like in the long run, if you continue to dry yourself out, eventually you will kind of inevitably be led to this outcome with the Two of Cups reversed, which is like a disharmonious relationship, not seeing eye to eye, expectations just like not being met, or whatever the case is. It's just like a little bit of a rocky road. So I would be very cautious as to how you approach your relationships, and it doesn't necessarily have to be romantic relationships, but I would definitely encourage you, fire signs, to just take a break. Honestly, seriously, take that break, because if you don't, I feel like that could really impact your relationships. And I feel that if you're not taking care of yourself, that leads to an increase in wanting to lash out on people and saying things that you don't mean, saying them impulsively because you're just so caught up in your own feelings. Like, you know, when someone like is feeling bad, whenever someone is having a bad day, they tend to lash out, and they don't necessarily mean it, but they can't help it because they're already in a bitter mood or whatever mood it is. So take the time to step back, to disconnect, to be on your own for a little bit, to take the weekend off from anyone. Give yourself that rest so that you don't end up lashing out on people who love you most and lashing out on people who ultimately don't deserve it. Does that make sense? There was a quote that I read earlier where it says something along the lines of like, if you don't heal yourself, then you'll end up bleeding on the people who never cut you. And even though this isn't literally like about people hurting you, but if you don't heal yourself, if you're not nurturing yourself, then you'll end up kind of just like spreading that injury to other people, and these people didn't hurt you, you know? So that's just something worthy of noting. We also have the Six of Pentacles reversed, which talks about like imbalance and a lack of reciprocity within relationships or within situations where someone is giving more than they are taking, or someone is taking more than they are giving. There's an imbalance. There is a lack of reciprocity or give and take of a mutual. It's like, it's not a mutually beneficial relationship. It's kind of like someone is benefiting more than another person. It's an unfair deal. So with that being said, it's important that you're not overworking yourself to please other people, but it's also important it can go both ways. Some of you might be giving a little bit too much to other people who either are intentionally or unintentionally taking advantage, or maybe you're just bending yourself backward for people who didn't even ask for it. Or maybe the opposite is happening, where people are bending their back for you and you're not really giving anything in return, in which case this could be an outcome, a possible outcome if you were to continue kind of just being in this Four of Swords reversed sort of energy. So that's just something to be mindful of for this upcoming week. And we also have the Ten of Wands here, which essentially just talks about burdens, and it talks about how whatever burdens you are carrying right now are definitely not worth it. Whatever burdens that you are carrying, ask yourself, are these burdens your own, or are you taking on the burdens of other people? In which case, if you're taking on the burdens of other people, give it back to them, because it's not your burden to carry. It's not your thing to deal with. Let other people deal with their own garbage, with their own gunk, because you already have enough as it is. You can't be taking on other people's stuff when you haven't even been dealing with your own. So that's just something to be mindful of. And I feel like some of you are trying to be like willfully ignorant to this and kind of like just breeze past it and act like nothing is happening within yourself. But I really do feel like it's time to push past this denial and realize that there is a lot going on. Because I feel like the longer that you carry on these burdens from other people, or just your own burdens, or any sort of burden that just isn't worth carrying, the more you lose sight of your path, of your goal, and of what you want to reach and attain. So that's why it's important to give yourself that rest, to let go of these burdens, to let go of these weights on your shoulders that literally don't mean anything and that don't help you in any sort of way, you know? So that's just something worth noting for you this week. Fire signs, please take the time to rest, to take care of yourselves, okay? Okay. With that being said, I really hope that this reading resonates. I hope that you were able to take something away from this and that you're able to apply some of the advice that I provided. Let me know in the comments down below. I would love your feedback, anything that you want to share with me, any sort of anecdote, whatever it is. Let me know in the comments down below. Give the video a thumbs up, share with your friends, family, loved ones. Subscribe if you wish to watch more of my videos, and hit the bell notification to know when I upload my videos. And if you want to book a personal reading with me, you can do so at sinfulpluto.com. It'll be linked down below. I actually revamped my website again, so it looks a lot more better. It looks a lot better. It is a lot more easy to navigate, I think. So hopefully that works out for a lot of us. And if you want to find me on social media, you can do so on Twitter and Instagram at Sinfulpluto. So with that being said, I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful week. Please take the time to rest, to nurture yourself, to nourish yourself, and just breathe. Fire signs, seriously breathe, so that you don't end up lashing out on people that don't deserve it, okay? I love you. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hi air signs, how are you? Hope you are doing so well. Let's just go ahead and get right into your reading. If you're interested in the deck that I'm using, it's the Modern Witch Tarot. It'll be linked down below if you are wanting to add it to your collection. But with that being said, let's just go ahead and get right into it, my loves. So what is in store for air signs between November 11th through the 17th? What is in store for air signs between November 11th through the 17th? What is in store? Ooh, whoa. What is in store for air signs between the 11th and the 17th? Okay, we got a card. Alrighty. Wheel of Fortune reversed. T. Alrighty. So feeling out of control, history repeating itself, trying to control our circumstances when they're not up to us to control. Okay. Five of Swords reversed. The Eight of Pentacles. And the Three of Wands reversed. Bottom of the deck is the Two of Swords reversed. And then under that is the Fool reversed. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. So I get the vibe of Jupiter Sagittarius energies with the Wheel of Fortune and the Three of Wands. So you could be dealing with a Sagittarius or dealing with Sagittarian themes, which is like philosophy, higher learning, wisdom, long distance travel, religion, spirituality, that sort of thing. But both of these cards are reversed, so it's like the inversion of that. So feeling somehow limited or outside of control, feeling maybe like you don't know enough. This upcoming week, air signs. Also, some of you could just be dealing with a Sagittarius, or maybe you have Sagittarius placements within your own chart. But let's get into it. Okay, so we have the Wheel of Fortune reversed. This to me signifies history repeating itself. So maybe there's some, and it makes sense because we have Mercury retrograde. So history is repeating itself. Whatever it is that you didn't necessarily handle properly the first time, or maybe something that still has some loose ends is being brought up again during this Mercury retrograde, specifically this week, especially with this Five of Swords reverse, which to me would talk about like something that is being dragged out and it's time for this thing to be put to rest. So whatever this is, the Wheel of Fortune reverse and the Five of Swords reverse, this to me is like a situation that has to be put to rest, because it keeps on repeating itself. This is like an endless cycle. This is something where like it's hard to escape it. And the reason why it's hard to escape it is because the same actions are being taken and no new approach is being made. So you're just like doing the same thing over and over again, hoping for a different outcome. And that's just like not the way that, that's just not the way that it works. So that's something that could be coming through for you. And I feel that some of you really just want to leave the situation, Three of Wands reverse, but you feel restricted in some way. You feel restricted, you feel limited, you want to be free from the situation. Maybe some of you really want to travel this week. Maybe some of you feel trapped in your circumstances. Maybe you feel trapped at a job or in a certain environment in your life, and you want to break free, but you don't necessarily know how, or maybe you feel like you don't know enough. Maybe you feel that there are people in your life who just keep dragging you back down. Maybe some of you this week are focusing a lot on work, and maybe work is making you feel trapped with this Eight of Pentacles. I also feel with this Eight of Pentacles, with this Eight of Pentacles and this Three of Wands reverse, that you're aware of what's going on. I feel like a lot of you air signs are finally putting in the work to actually leave the situation, whatever the situation this is. Eight of Pentacles is telling me that you're definitely putting in the work and you're putting in the effort and the time and the energy into whatever thing this is. Even if it's exhausting and even if it's something that you just don't want to have to deal with because it's an inconvenience to you, which I understand. But I feel like some of you are either being encouraged or you're already beginning to put in the work to leave and liberate yourself from the situation, to kind of tie up any sort of loose ends. And I feel that it's one of those things where you're definitely paying attention to the details and you're no longer overlooking certain details. Because with the Three of Wands reverse, this to me would be someone who's trying to rush something, who's trying to rush in jumping into a new endeavor, but by doing that, they end up missing out or overlooking certain details that end up being very impactful and important. And with the Eight of Pentacles, this is telling me that you are definitely beginning, or you are being encouraged to pay attention to the details this upcoming week, because that might have been an issue for you in the past, or it might be an issue for you this upcoming week. So definitely be mindful of the details and like trying not to rush into anything. If you get really excited, or for example, maybe this unfinished business or whatever cycle that keeps on repeating itself has to do with the fact that you're overlooking certain details because you want to give into your impulses, to your initial responses. And so this week might be definitely time for you to put that habit to rest and to actually pay attention to the details, to actually take the time to think things through, to plan, to strategize, to think ahead and to calculate, to have a blueprint in mind rather than just jumping into it full force and then landing in the water, you know, and like drowning. And this might be something that you have been like completely in denial of, because at the bottom of the deck, I have the Two of Swords reversed and the Fool reversed. The Two of Swords reversed to me would be like denial, and then the Fool reversed would be to me like finally learning your lesson. Rather than being naive, this would be like having experience. So like you have experience with this. Like this isn't the first time that this has happened. Wheel of Fortune reversed. History has repeated itself far too long, and it's time to wisen up, to learn from your experience, and to not give in to your impulses. Knight of Wands reversed, bottom of the deck as well, was under the Fool reversed. So don't give in to your impulses, because the impulse I see is wanting to just jump in blindly, and that's not necessarily going to work out in your benefit, whether this is in relation to work or in relation to your relationships, right? Whether it's romantic or platonic, whatever it is. For example, let's say you meet someone and you are completely infatuated. Like, it's like a love at first sight sort of thing. And for some of you, that might be the thing, because I have the Ace of Cups here. So there's a lot of idealization of someone or of a situation. Maybe some of you, you see this person and you're like, holy crap, like this is the person for me. And you just have all of these thoughts and you're like, wow, like I'm in love with this person, and you don't even know this person very well. And so maybe you have had this tendency of jumping into relationships or into situations that you were really passionate about in that moment. And then as you go along, you realize that it wasn't for you. And then it inevitably doesn't work out because there was no solid foundation for you to jump on in the first place. You didn't get to know this person in the first place. You just thought, oh my God, like they're so pretty. And they have a few basic personality traits or whatever that I'm really into. This person must be for me. And then maybe after like a week or even after a month, you realize that this person isn't for you, that you're just not compatible, whatever the case may be. And it's a cycle that keeps on repeating itself. So I feel like that's a cycle that definitely has to be put to rest. Surrendering to the situation and allowing yourself to be a little bit more realistic, a little bit more pragmatic and practical, because the Eight of Pentacles is earth energy. So I think of Virgo when I see the Eight of Pentacles being very detail oriented. Focus on the details. Focus on the things that you don't see at the first time. You know what I mean? Take your time to take a step back and to notice the details. Notice all of the qualities of this person, not just the ones that shine in your face. Okay? That's definitely something that I would encourage you to do, or air signs. I keep on saying everyone else except your sign, air signs. Definitely work on doing that, okay? So that you don't get caught up in the same old cycle over and over again. I feel that you have a lot of experience with this, so it's time to utilize that experience and turn it into wisdom and grow from the situation rather than succumbing to your impulses and giving into them, okay? Use your knowledge, turn it into wisdom. That is my message for you, okay? With that being said, I hope that this resonates. Let me know if it does. Let me know any of your feedback, any sort of anecdote, anything that you want to share with me in the comments down below. I would love to hear. If you liked the video, give it a big thumbs up, share with your friends, family, loved ones. And if you want to, subscribe, hit the bell notification to know when I upload my video. If you want to get further insight into this situation and to any other situation in your life, feel free to book a reading with me. You can do so at sinfulpluto.com. The link will be down below if you desire to just click on that. And if you want to find me on social media, you can do so at Twitter and Instagram at Sinfulpluto. So with that being said, I hope that you have a wonderful week, and I'll talk to you soon. Hey Earth signs, how are you? I hope that you are doing so well. Let's just go ahead and get right into your reading for the week. I'm using the Modern Witch Tarot for anyone who's interested in adding it to their collection. I'll be linking it down below if you just want to go there. So there's that. But let's get into it. Let's see what is in store for all of you this week. Alright, what is in store for Earth signs the week of November 11th through the 17th? What is in store for Earth signs between November 11th through the 17th? We've got a card that fell out. All right. Ooh, Nine of Swords reversed. Okay, so some of you are definitely overthinking this week. We have the High Priestess. Okay. Four of Cups reversed. Okay. And we have the Six of Wands. Okay, T. So, Earth signs, I definitely feel for you this week. It's time for you to reconnect with your higher self, with your intuition. The Nine of Swords reversed and the Four of Cups reversed tell me that your energy is very scattered this week. Definitely very scattered. Physically, you're in one place, but your mind is completely elsewhere. So you need to ground yourself. You need to work on grounding yourself this week because your energy is all over the place. Work on your root chakra. Work on meditating. Definitely work on meditating. And if you're doing it, if you decide to do it, and if you're sitting on the floor, and if you decide to sit crisscross, make it so that your hands are on your lap face down and not face up, but they're face down to ground you, okay? Definitely work on meditating. Listen to some guided meditations to ground yourself. Do some yoga to ground yourself. Work on your root chakra. Work on that because I see you just being so scattered and so all over the place. I need you to sit down and meditate and just be present because you're thinking way ahead of time, or you're thinking way in the past. You're worried about this, you're worried about that, and it's killing you. Not like literally killing you, but it's definitely taking away your life force, so to speak. It's draining you, should I say. So I would really, really, really encourage you to breathe. Seriously, just breathe. Slow down. Take some time for yourself. When you wake up, don't just go on your phone and like try to keep up with everyone and try to text this person or do this and do that. No. When you wake up, open your eyes and just breathe. Deep, like inhale. Hold it for a few seconds. Exhale slowly. Do this for a few minutes. Take some time for yourself. Take some time to read a book, to journal, to do whatever it is that makes you feel good in the morning. But that isn't being on your phone or on the computer or being on social media in any sort of way. Don't do anything that just distracts your mind. This isn't a time to be trying to distract yourself. Distractions are what aren't really helping you right now. It's allowing yourself to be present, to acknowledge whatever it is that you're experiencing, feeling that, and then letting it go. Not pushing it away, but letting it go when you are ready to let it go. Okay? Definitely, please take some time to meditate. The Four of Cups reversed to me literally talks about a lack of meditation, a lack of mindfulness, a lack of awareness, a lack of presence. So, food for thought. We have the High Priestess again, which is all about your intuition, connecting with your intuition and your higher self. Also, I would say that this has to do a lot with introspection and doing like a deep investigation and research and asking yourself, okay, why do I feel so anxious? Why do I feel this way? How do I feel this way? How is this, connected with everything else that is going on in my life? Taking time to do that research, to do the investigation. Because when I see the computer here, I just always think of like private investigation of like someone who's doing like a lot of like social media stalking. So for you, definitely lay off the social media stalking and comparing yourself to other people. That's one. But also taking the time to do research on yourself. To journaling is so helpful for this. Take the time to really investigate on yourself, to talk to your higher self, to really understand why you are doing what you are doing and why you feel that those coping mechanisms are what are working for you, and what can you do to improve those coping mechanisms, because whatever it is that you might be doing right now, it doesn't really seem that it's helping. And if you don't have any coping mechanisms, now is really a really great time to implement some helpful and healthy coping mechanisms to help you get through this. So that's one thing. And I feel like with this High Priestess, this is saying like some of you might already know what you have to do, but you're just not implementing yourself for whatever reason. Maybe it's because you're just complacent, in which case, we have to push ourselves out of complacency. The Six of Wands tells me that there's something that has to be acknowledged, whatever this is. Some of you, there has to be something that has to acknowledge, like there's a spotlight that's being put on this situation or on this feeling or whatever it is. You have to acknowledge it and accept it for what it is. Stop trying to push it away or to distort your perception to make it something that it's not. just accept it for what it is and acknowledge that and let that go. You know, this doesn't mean like give up or kind of just like remain complacent and think, oh, well, I just have to accept my circumstances. This is always how it's going to be. No. Accept the things that have happened and find ways to improve on them or better them in some way, or maybe even change them if you can. It's that sort of energy. There's a need to like rekindle the fire because it just seems like there's just so much scattered energy of feeling like you're overthinking or feeling like your thoughts are just very foggy, feeling a lot of confusion, maybe even having some sort of insomnia, having difficulty sleeping, having difficulties just resting, like not even sleeping, but just resting. Because sometimes we find it easy to sleep, but resting is a different thing. So maybe we need to find ways to aid ourselves in a more holistic or natural way, rather than like immediately going to medication. Obviously, if that's required of you, where you have to absolutely take medication, by all means, I'm not shaming you for that at all. But take care of yourself. And like, if there's a way for you, like for example, if you're not taking any sort of medication, if it's not something that you require, then that shouldn't necessarily be your first option, if that makes sense. So there's that. I wonder if some of you feel like there's too much of a spotlight on you and you're not really a fan of that and you're trying to run away from it this week with the 6 of Wands, Earth signs. But ask yourself, why do you feel this way? Why do you feel like there's too much of a spotlight on you? Why are you trying to run away from the spotlight? Is it because you don't feel comfortable in having to face your shadows? Is that a possibility for some of you? Is that some of you really are trying to avoid the introspection because it's not something that you're used to? Earth signs don't really like to introspect, honestly. They, from my experience, they try to keep things at a surface level because they don't like to feel. Earth signs aren't necessarily the type to try to allow themselves to feel. They kind of just like push it to the side. You know, I'm a Taurus rising, so I get it. We try to be like practical and pragmatic about things, but we tend to just like push it to the side, like, ugh, like I don't want to deal with this. This isn't a practical emotion. Like I'm just gonna. But we have to do that, okay? Because not everything can be taken for face value. Sometimes we have to push ourselves to go a little deeper. Is it easy? Not necessarily. Is it fun? Not necessarily. Is it required of us? Yeah. If we want to grow as human beings and get to know ourselves better and to improve ourselves, yeah, sure. It's definitely required of us, so that we can grow as people and not repeat old patterns, and so that we can gain a little bit of peace of mind and have clarity as to why we act the way that we act, or why we feel the way that we feel. Okay, so I think I'm going to leave it at that for now, for you Earth signs. I really hope that this resonates with you. If it does, let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear all of your feedback. Give the video a thumbs up if you desire, share with your friends, family, loved ones, subscribe, hit the bell notification to know when I upload my videos. If you want to book a personal reading with me, you can do so at sinfulpluto.com. The link will be down below if you just want to click on that. And let's see, if you want to find me on social media, you can do so on Twitter and Instagram at Sinfulpluto. With that being said, my loves, I hope that you have a wonderful week. Let me know how things go for you, and I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hi water signs, how are you? I hope that you are doing so well. Let's just go ahead and get right into your weekly reading. If you're interested, I'm using the Modern Witch Tarot. It'll be linked down below if you are wanting to add it to your collection. So there's that. So let's get right into your weekly reading. So what is in store for water signs this upcoming week? What is in store for water signs? What is in store for water signs between November... Dude, chill. I'm not done yet. What is in store for water signs? It seems you guys really want to talk. What is in store for water signs between November 11th through the 17th? So 2 cards came out. We have, oop, bitch. Sorry, I'm so sorry. We have the Tower reversed and the 2 of Swords reversed. Okay. We have the 6 of Pentacles and the Page of Wands. And then bottom of the deck is the Ace of Pentacles reversed. And under that, Ace of Wands reversed. Jesus Christ, dude. What's going on with water signs? 7 of Cups, 8 of Pentacles reversed, 5 of Wands. Okay. Tea. So there's a lot going on for you, water signs. Sorry, I don't mean to seem so ominous. Can't help it when there's a tower here. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be doing that. So... So there are much needed changes that have to take place for you, water signs. Tower reverse tells me that you might have been resisting change. It might be that some of you have been aware of some much needed changes in your life that need to take place. However, having the card reverse tells me that you have been resisting that you have been willfully ignorant to those changes, trying to ignore them, hoping that that would go away, hoping that everything would just resolve itself on its own, trying to ignore the fact that the foundation is very faulty and bound to fall one way or another eventually, right? Right, and especially with the 2 of Swords reversed here. So this to me would be like you have been in denial of the changes that have been needed to take place, right? Trying to ignore them, trying to remain blindfolded, trying to remain naive even though you know better. So what is that? What is this tower moment? What is this change, this upheaval that has to take place so that you can clear the space and build something a lot stronger and a lot more sturdy to stay upright? So what is that thing for you? Maybe for some of you, this has to do with a job, with a relationship. Maybe this has to do with a certain pattern of yours, a thought pattern, a behavioral pattern, an emotional pattern, whatever this is for you. Maybe it's a habit, whatever it is. You've known for however long, whether it was for a long time or recently that you have discovered this, but you've known, you have been, informed of the changes that have to take place, of the fact that things aren't going very well or aren't going how you would want them to. That there's a time for newness to take place, because that's essentially what this is. It's time for newness. It's time for a new chapter in your life. It's time for that. And there has been that denial. No, I don't, that's not true. That's not going to happen. You know, it has resolved itself, or it'll resolve itself on its own. I don't have to face that right now. I have a little bit of time. No, not anymore. Maybe you have been warned and you just ignored it, like, no big deal. No, it's time to face it. Because inevitably that thing is going to crumble, and it's up to you whether it's done with grace or done in a really dramatic upheaval sort of way. 6 of Pentacles tells me that maybe for some of you, this has something to do with the way in which you engage in relationships. This to me, the feeling that I get is like prioritizing one thing over another. I don't want to say like it's an imbalance, but it's like you're prioritizing one person over another. Like you're giving them the gift first rather than it being equal. So I wonder if like you're paying more attention to something and kind of like ignoring the thing, hoping that it'll go away, or like saying, oh, like I'll get to it later. Maybe that's something that you are going to experience this week. And so maybe your lesson this week is to learn how to properly prioritize and to do things equally rather than having some sort of like favorites game that's going on, or kind of like putting more attention into one thing and then just half-assing the other. Maybe that's something that has to take place. I also feel like with this Six of Pentacles reverse, this might be in reference to learning how to balance yourself, learning how to, I feel like it all has to do with priorities. That's really what it is. It's just learning how to balance between work and home life, or learning how to balance between love and home life, or whatever it is. Learning how to balance those two things and not just like ignoring one part or the other. Let's see. I want to clarify this Six of Pentacles. What is the Six of Pentacles for water signs? Okay, bottom of the deck is Three of Cups reversed. Some of you might be dealing with some sort of gossip or superficial friendship. We have the Strength card. Some of you could be dealing with a Leo. If not, this has to do with inner strength, with inner power, connecting with your inner warrior. And we have the Three of Cups reversed, and then the Two of Cups, and then the Empress. I really feel like there's some sort of favoritism. I feel like for some of you, okay, for some of you, maybe you have tried to ignore a certain situation within a friend group or a social group. Maybe there is a friendship or like a social group that you're in that is just really superficial. Like the people are just like kind of fake, and you've known this for a while, but you've tried to like ignore it. But I feel like you've known deep within yourself, and maybe other people have told you that this social group, this friend group just isn't really for you. And so it's kind of time to prioritize your friend group, I guess you could say, or like prioritize the people who actually matter rather than putting so much attention into friendships or relationships or whatever it is, into these things that are superficial or that don't really matter or that are fake in some sort of way. Kind of like having the inner strength to do that, and having the strength to walk away from these people or walk away from the situation, or even having the strength, the inner power to speak your truth, to stand up for yourself and show that you are no longer going to succumb yourself to the situation. And we have the Page of Wands, which is communication and messages. So I feel like some of you are being encouraged this week to address the situation rather than being in denial of it or trying to ignore it and pretend that it's not there. I feel like it's time for you to prioritize your own self rather than these other people. That's what that is. Yeah. Prioritizing yourself rather than these people. Prioritize your worth, your strength, your sanity over these fake relationships, these fake people, superficial people that really don't really mean anything to you and probably haven't meant anything to you for a while. And you probably don't mean much to them, but they're keeping up this facade that you do. I just feel that with this Three of Cups reversed, this to me is just gossip and just like talking badly about others, talking behind people's backs, just being really fake. Like I just think of Mean Girls when I think of the Three of Cups reversed, and I feel that it's just time to no longer make these people or the situation a priority and just speak up for yourself with this Page of Wands. Speak your mind, honestly. I feel that it's time to send that text message to let these people know how you feel about them, and just speak up your mind and be authentic and be genuine rather than just like continuing on with the facade. It's time for that to it's time for this foundation to just go. It hasn't been serving you. Tower reverse, like maybe some of you have been resisting that. Maybe you feel like, oh, that these people will change, or maybe you feel that maybe if you just wait a little bit longer, things will get better again. But I feel that it's kind of inevitable. These people probably haven't been doing much for you. They haven't been reciprocal towards you. Maybe you've been putting in more effort or energy into these people than they have, in which case it's just not worth it. It's not worth pursuing this. So, you know, I understand the desire to have that deep and intimate connection, but for you water signs, this social group or this person just isn't it for you. I feel that there's a lack of intimacy. There is a lack of emotional understanding for one another. I feel like these people don't see you for who you are, and I feel that they're just putting up masks and a facade, and you shouldn't subject yourself to that, and you shouldn't try to put on a mask for these people who ultimately don't even want to see you for who you are. They want to see the mask. They don't want to see your authentic self. They don't care for authenticity. They care for all that dazzles, or all that looks like gold, all that glitters, right? They don't care for the real stuff. So that is something that I would definitely work on this week for you water signs. At the bottom of the deck, I have the Two of Cups and the Empress. This is telling me like you are worthy of healthy relationships. You are worthy of healthy, intimate, long-lasting relationships. Like you can create that. You can manifest that into your life. But I feel that in order for you to be able to really manifest this into your life, you have to let go of the thing that is holding you back. And for some of you, this could be friendships, or I don't know, whatever it might be for you. A certain social group, or maybe a job, or I don't know, something to do with school. Whatever it is. It's time to let that go so that you can manifest something greater and something better. And ultimately, you will be the victor, because I have the Seven of Wands here. Sure, there might be a little bit of resistance, maybe on their end, on the friend's end, and they think, why would you want to do this? I didn't realize that there was a problem, trying to save their ass, right? Trying to cover their asses, but you've already seen them for who they are. There might be resistance, but ultimately you end up winning. You start off as the underdog, and then you end up as the victor. So there's no need to fear taking that risk. You're going to be fine. And, you know, there might be a little bit of resistance on their end, but as long as you stand your ground, you'll be fine. And as long as you speak your mind and allow your authentic self to shine through, you'll be fine. So, with that being said, my loves, I really hope that this resonates with you. Let me know if it does, if this advice was something that you needed to hear this week. If you like the video, give it a big thumbs up and share with your friends, family, loved ones. Subscribe, hit the bell notification to know when I upload my videos. And if you want to book a personal reading with me, you can do so at sinfulpluto.com. The link will be down below if you just want to go there. And if you want to find me on social media, you can do so at on Twitter and Instagram at Sinfulpluto. So with that being said, my loves, I shall talk to you soon.